Hi, I'm just putting this video together as a means to communicate some of the ways that we learn in 602. And it's not a typical year, but I would like to again commend you all on your respective children. They're a credit to you, and I've thoroughly enjoyed beginning to get to know them so far this year. So I'm going to just use this opportunity to navigate around some of the MyHSC resources and some of the ways that we're managing our learning and some of the resources that we access on a daily basis. Our first starting point would be our MyHSC home form page. Students, parents, and teachers all have access to this page. At the top here, we have a bulletin board, and that's typically where most things live on this page. We have a little blurb. We have a link to my online classroom, so students can always access that there. Then we have another link here for all virtual teacher classrooms in 602 timetable. It might be worth having a quick look at this. So this document acts as a directory for students to access all potential teachers in their middle school lives this year. There's also a space for chapel, Friday announcements, which are updated weekly. House team links are there as well for students to access. And we have a copy of our timetable also lives on this document. So I'll go back to our MyHSC home form page again and have a quick look at our REACH page. You're probably thinking, what does REACH stand for? Well, it's an acronym for Recap, Elevate, Aim, Cue, and Housekeeping. And the recap part is a digital table which outlines to our students what exactly is due in their respective subjects, and we update this as a live, ongoing document. The document is embedded and lives on the MyHSC home form page here. Students can access it directly by clicking on this link. It takes them directly to the doc, and they can engage a little bit closer with that there. We have an Elevate. We look for something that was particularly strong about the students in that day, something they can be proud of. A name, something that they can strive to do a little bit better tomorrow as a collective. Cues are reminders, and H for housekeeping. That's pretty self-explanatory. What else lives on the MyHSC home form page? We have an area for announcements. We have some downloadables over here. So in this case, our timetable is downloadable as a PDF there. We have some news that I can add to if we need to do so. And we have an embedded video section at the bottom here. Some more links on the right-hand side, which we'll update accordingly. Sometimes, more often than not, these links are for the students to access some of the resources they may need. In our respective subject pages, they all live on the MyHSC platform as well. We have our bulletin board, which includes a blurbs, a space for announcements again. The course syllabus is on the left-hand side of the screen. Some important links. In this case, we're looking at our English resources. We have our virtual bookshelf, virtual novel library. So there's opportunities for students to access books digitally and to put an order in to request their next reading book from our library as well. They can do that there. Then we have our topics pages. And recently we've just completed a written article on my favorite meal. So let's perhaps use this as an example. Here it is. Here's the outline of the task, a little blurb about what the students need to do. And then we have links on the right-hand side. I'll open my favorite meal outline and rubric. It opens as a Word document. And here we see where the students can access the task, the purpose, the requirements, and a rubric. So again, all of the resources can be found on there for English in the topics page. Let's have a quick snoop on the math page. Again, similar comparables to where things live. Areas for the syllabus, downloads, links, and announcements. The topics live on the topics host the units. So right now we've just begun Unit 2, which is on fractions, decimals, and percents. If I click on the link underneath that, it opens up our digital textbook. And in math, it's slightly different this year. We're using a digital textbook. has an outline of the key objectives the students will be learning in this unit. The contents page, some of the mental and oral starters we'll focus on for the next number of lessons. That's the 2 or 3 minute starter activities. And then we have a breakdown of the lessons, and it typically is an ABC format, whereby A has a hyperlink to class notes. So if we select the hyperlinked notes, it takes us to notes. In this case, we're looking at rounding numbers. So I've hyperlinked in the notes that the students can access there. B is often a video segment, so the students or parents, if they so wish, can click on the video and access the key learning aspect through the video content. And then we have the learning engagements, the possible learning engagements. And in this case, there's at least 3 different levels of challenge. We have a knowledge and progressing, 2 activities nominated there. Knowledge and accomplished, again, there's 1 activity nominated here. And there's a knowledge and exemplary, and there's an activity nominated there. And if I click on the C link for the choice board, it takes me to the penultimate slide on this digital tool, and then I can access the specific learning engagements. So for instance, let me look at knowledge and accomplished. In this case, it says mathletics, round decimal hundredths, nearest whole and tenth. Now, I can take learning from there, or I can go down to the actual choice board and find the activity repeated there. So now what I need to do as a learner in this case is I need to log into my mathletics. I need to find that learning engagement and partake in the actual task. In a following lesson, it has a similar structure. In this case, we're rounding numbers and applying that learning. And I'll use one of these examples. Perhaps I'll search for the rounding application accomplished. So I'm going to look for that activity in the learning choice board. Let's jump right there. So it's rounding application accomplished, and here it is. So I'm going to click on that activity, and it takes me to a Drive folder where the PDF lives. The student will open the PDF, and then they can work through these learning engagements here. Students also have the ability to open tasks with an annotating tool called Kami, and I'll demonstrate how that works briefly. Your students will do a better job at explaining the nuances and the applications of this tool more comprehensively than I can, but I know some of the basics. It allows the students to access a drawing tool where they can circle the number closest in value to 0.1. If they want to nominate this as their answer, they'll do so like that. They also have the option to use a text tool. So if I use a text box and I want to put my answer in here, I can include some numbers, rounded to the nearest whole number. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to make an educated guess at 28. And they can place their text there. They can change the color of the text and so on. And the students are very capable of using these tools, and they can save them into their drive thereafter. So that's Kami. And that's another important aspect of how we're learning this year. Let's jump back onto our MyHSC page again. Science and social studies, similar layouts. Our topic pages are on here. We're in the middle of our flight unit. Hyperlinked video content, hyperlinked suggestions that the students can work through with teacher guidance and with self-pace, which is a nice combination. The other thing I'd like to show you, I would like to show you where students, where their learning lives. The Google Drive is an important means for students to store, access, and showcase their learning this year. So if I want to look at, let's pick on Anne here if I can. If I want to look at Anne Voss's My Favorite Meal, I can access that directly here on her Drive folder, and I can see the work that she's carried out here. I can give her feedback on there as the teacher and as peers, and I can go down to the rubric, and as the teacher, this is a recently completed task. I'll put in my teacher assessment. I'll change my key. I won't use the highlight she's used. I'll get rid of highlight and I'll put in an underline and not bold. So my teacher assessment will live in here. I'll read through her work, and I'll decide how she's worked at each different criteria. So these are some examples as to how teachers and students are engaging, sharing, and assessing the learning materials this year. But I don't have too much more to say. Perhaps I would say at this point it's just been very nice working with your students or with your children, and thank you for the support you've shown me. I hope this video explains a few things in a bit more detail with you as to how we're learning and how we're working, and I look forward to a successful year.